I've always wanted to make a lamp, and while this one isn't anything fancy, it came together thanks to a bit of inspiration and a cheap set of 20 Christmas lights. The moment I saw those LEDs, I thought, yeah, that would make a nice lamp. I had this plexiglass pipe from a friend, and I figured it would work well as an outer shell. I liked the idea of a glossy clear finish, especially with the materials I had lying around. Speaking of materials, I had a whole roll of diffuser sheets salvaged from broken LCD LED TVs. I tested a few combinations to see which would work best, and eventually I settled on the matte one since it gave the lights a nice soft glow. For the base and top, I needed to measure the pipe so I could input the dimensions into my tiny CNC machine. The diameter of the tube was 66mm and the walls were 4mm thick. I also cut a slice of the diffuser sheet to slide inside the tube, and despite needing a slight trim, I liked how it looked. At first I planned to place the lights inside the pipe freely, but they wouldn't stay in place, so I grabbed a piece of PVC pipe and wrapped the LED cable around it. It looked okay, but my lamp was meant to be directional and this setup wasn't ideal, so I scrapped the idea. Almost. I cut the plexiglass tube to my desired size, and of course forgot to record it. Then using my sander holded to quintillion, original thing, I sanded the edges to remove tiny cracks left by my miter saw. After a quick check, the lamp was looking good. At this point I temporarily taped the LEDs to the PVC pipe to test the lighting. I liked how it looked, but obviously painter's tape wasn't a permanent solution. Instead, I drilled just enough holes into the pipe and threaded the lights through. With some patience and 2 pairs of tweezers, I got all the lights in place, and honestly, it looked even better. With my pipe measurements in hand, I used easel, a free CNC tool to design the cutouts for the base and top. After a few test cuts to ensure a proper fit, I cut out the both pieces. For the job I used 2 different bits. A 1/8 inch for the plexiglass and outer edge, and the 1/16 inch bit for the PVC pipe inside. Yeah, I'd rather use those proper metric measurements, but here we are. After the CNC work, I moved to my scroll saw to trim the outer edges, then cleaned them up using a flush trim bit on my router table. Obviously, this wouldn't be an amateur project without issues. While routing, a section cracked off. I glued it, but when I tried to clean it up, it cracked again. Instead of fighting it, I embraced the flow and turned it into a unique cutout at the back of the lamp, which actually gave it a nice character. With the edges clean, I used a roundover bit to smooth the base and top, making them look even better. After some light sanding with a chisel, everything was shaping up nicely. Now, if you've ever made the videos, you know the struggle, corrupted files, missing footage, or just forgetting to press record. Well, one of those happened to me. I lost the footage where I actually cut out the base for the battery pack, so here it is after the fact. I realized I needed space to house the batteries, so I designed a new CNC cutout with a thicker piece of wood for the base. This allowed me to create the recessed area for the battery pack to sit flush. Of course, routing the edges caused some tear out, so I trimmed out the back, which unexpectedly created an opening that made the switch easier to access. Sometimes mistakes work in your favor. I cleaned up the cut with round over bit and sanded everything down to 800 grit for a smooth finish. The battery pack lid cracked the first time I opened it, classic, so I decided to fix it when gluing up the battery pack to the base. I also drilled a hole in the middle of the base for the wire to pass through, keeping everything hidden inside the PVC pipe. To seal the wood, I applied 2 coats of Liberon finishing oil, lightly sanding with 320 grit sandpaper between coats. Since the oil had a strong smell, I left the pieces outside for a couple of days to air out. Meanwhile, the plexiglass tube had picked up some scratches during the build, so I decided to embrace the matte finish instead. Using 320, 600 and 800 grit sandpaper, I dry sanded the tube, keeping the final sanding strokes in a straight up and down motion. This gave the lamp a sleek, frosted look. Once everything was dry, I did a final test fit just to make sure everything was looking good. After that, I proceeded to desolder the wires from the battery pack so I could fit them in the final assembly. My head might have blocked the camera a bit, but everything came together smoothly. To assemble everything, I used 5-minute epoxy to glue the battery pack to the base and secure the plexiglass and PVC pipes, leaving the top removable just in case. I also reinforced the battery pack lid to fix the crack, as I mentioned before. And here it is, a fully functioning lamp that I always wanted to make. I ended up gifting it to my friend's partner. Hopefully she likes it and gets a good use out of it. If you enjoyed watching this build, have any questions or just want to say hi, drop a comment below. And of course, if you want to see more, hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.